When I looked at the number of views on Angel Reese's most recent podcast episodes, I was truly shocked to see that some of them were barely reaching 70 views. This is a startling decline for someone who was once one of the most talked about figures in women's sports. One episode, which featured Jada Cheeves and Des Dior, barely managed to get 66 views, which isn't a typo, and the content was a complete shift from sports to an hour-long discussion of dating wealthy men. The only people left wondering if they had clicked on the wrong show were Angel's core basketball fan group, the most recent Angel Reese. The main reason why her podcast decision has disappointed her listeners is because of the guests she chose. I believe that many people ask themselves, who cares about these people, honestly? What began as a noticeable decline in viewership swiftly turned into a complete catastrophe when Reese scolded critics, telling them to shut up. It wasn't just tone deaf, it fueled a fire that was already burning, and fans who had been disappointed by the content now began to doubt her character. It wasn't just a content issue, it was a trust issue. Then the comparisons to Caitlin Clark's disciplined and extremely successful offseason began to come in, creating an even more striking contrast. From featuring musicians like Sexy Red Glow and basketball legend Lisa Leslie to fellow athletes like Janaea Carrington, Skylar Diggins-Smith, the Sky Forward received positive reviews from viewers and listeners, but the most recent episode received mixed reviews. Angel's decision to include Jada Chi and Des Dior, a couple more known for their celebrity drama and Instagram influence than anything sports, was a sharp left turn from what basketball fans who came for Hoop Talk received an unexpected lecture on luxury dating preferences. But this episode felt more like an extended reality TV audition with constant talk about dating standards and no mention of the thoughtful basketball content and engaging conversations with other athletes that had built her show's following. Reality stars Jada Cheeves and Doria were on Reese's podcast, and I'm not even sure who talked about their experiences on season 1 of BET's The Impact. Atlanta and their open opinions on dating, career, and online criticism. It wasn't just dull, it felt like a bait and switch. This wasn't the gritty, fervent Angel Reed they had followed during her time at LSU. Rather, it was a version more focused on gaining influence than building a meaningful platform. One follower remarked, "I feel like she's forgetting why we started supporting her," while another added, "This isn't it. I came for basketball, not love and hip-hop." The damage was real, and the fans weren't shy about walking away. Their quotation problem with reference to connections. Regarding Ree, she brought up men's fears about women making more money than their partners. Is it still something that many find upsetting? A lot of men don't also like women. When you read quotes from her, your IQ points simply vanish. My goodness, the grammar is so bad. Many males dislike women who have their own opinions. This mistake on the show brought to light how estranged Ree had gotten from her foundation, and she thought her audience would follow suit. After the interview, fans expressed their displeasure with the players' answers regarding money and relationships, feeling that they overshadowed other crucial topics. They felt as though they were witnessing a betrayal of their favorite player, abandoning the game that made her famous. After all, they saw a player more interested in influencer vibes than her roots as a trailblazing hooper. Quotation, they said a lot of nothing, the responses are dumb, and the numbers brutal. We are discussing a podcast that was formerly fully endorsed by the extensive podcast network of Shaquille O'Neal's excellent production. The saddest part is that this wasn't an anomaly. Rather, it was a trend. The excitement that once surrounded Angel's podcast was replaced with awkward silence and a large number of unsubscribes. A-list guests seriously reached that same show, which now received fewer than 70 views on some episodes. Someone else added a quote, "This is like the one podcast where 3 kids judge food they haven't eaten, laugh out loud." This also applies to a commenter who stated, "Listening to this podcast, I just said I was dropping brain cells." As we talk, my IQ scores were actually melting away from my brain pan. Short attention spans and viral material are one thing, but it's quite another to watch your own fan base, your ride or die basketball supporters, completely lose interest in you. While Caitlin Clark continues to rise, people who used to applaud her every step were now using her comment section to inquire about what had happened to the player they once admired. All these women out here are doing phenomenal things, but you choose rappers' girlfriends to interview. It just really throws me. The contrast is almost painful to watch. Angel Reese should have been there with her, an ambassador for women's basketball and a symbol of its new era, but instead she's left explaining why hardly anyone is paying attention anymore. The fall wasn't sudden, rather it was a gradual erosion of trust that culminated in a tone-deaf episode that will probably be studied for years as an example of how not to pivot your brand, because once your fans feel ignored, it doesn't take long for them to disappear. Because although you may think I'm lying, I'm telling you the truth. This isn't clickbait at all, people. As we play the Unapologetically Angel podcast, I mean, she just uploaded the episode 10 minutes ago, and it has already received 66 views. This one has 781 angels. We're talking about a well-known WNBA player with massive media attention, major brand deals, and a built-in following from her college career, and yet her own audience couldn't be bothered to hit play. Reese's podcast has officially reached its lowest point ever. Her show couldn't even reach 50 views in a single week. Claps. Angel Reese hasn't received more than 5,000 views in more than a week, and what's worse is how quickly it happened. This wasn't a slow fade or growing apathy, but a full-blown nosedive. People aren't feeling them, man. The timing wasn't subtle either. The moment she released that now infamous episode full of tone-deaf commentary and reality TV fluff, the bottom dropped out, and it appeared as though she had a steady, if modest, base of devoted listeners, but almost overnight, it all disappeared. Her analytics looked like a block shot that never left the paint. I can't even lie to you, but after this interview, dude, everything went south. It seems like things have been getting worse ever since this fucking interview, and it appears that Kennedy Carter may be, her largest opinion might be of DJ Carrington. The consequences were severe and swift. Analysts believe that her viewership dropped by over 90%, almost overnight, which is unheard of. Imagine spending months creating a platform, planning events, and pushing your brand, only to have almost all of your audience drop out in a couple of days. This isn't just apathy either. Even with the support of Shaquille O'Neal's large podcast network, slick editing, and high-end production value, it wasn't enough to save the show. Fans were publicly distancing themselves from her, unfollowing her, and unsubscribing. The message was clear. They felt betrayed if you were going to break it up, but damn dog, it's not looking good for Angel, bro. Now, I just wanted to show you the numbers to show you that I wasn't clickbaiting or picking on Angel. This basically boils down to Angel misinterpreting what it is that a creator's disconnection from their main audience cannot be resolved by all the resources in the world. These numbers don't lie. They scream that her audience didn't want pop culture gossip, glamorized dating rants, or celebrity guest appearances with nothing to say. They wanted basketball. They wanted behind-the-scenes insights, and they wanted the real Angel Reese, who earned their respect on the court. Her fans wanted her to have a lot of things, like rappers and these so-called D-list celebrities. Instead, it felt like a complete betrayal of that identity. A social media user wrote, "The least informative podcast on earth, yikes." And then, rather than listening to her fans, Angel threw a grenade on her own credibility. When viewers expressed frustration, she didn't respond, explain, or make any adjustments. Instead, she retaliated on Twitter with the now famous "shut the F up." After saying that she took the X and essentially told her supporters how she was feeling, those 4 words converted an already poor appearance into a full-blown PR collapse. Let's flip the tweet now. This is I sent a tweet right here. "This is my podcast. Shut the F up. Don't watch. Thank you," said Angel Reese. Consider this. She had every chance to change course and politely accept the criticism. She could have even promised more basketball-focused content and said she was trying something new. This would have been easy damage control, but instead she fueled the flames. Just hours before the media began covering her podcast's poor performance, she sent a belligerent tweet solidifying one of the most significant self-inflicted embarrassments we've seen in women's sports media. Take a look at the comments. I mean, this one too, you threw out the baby. We are the shareholders of your content, so if you can't handle the heat, get off the mic. That's not trolling, that's heartbreak from a community that once believed in her. Fans are still bringing up the baby interview, which never happened. She also received harsh criticism from her fan base for that particular interview, and all of a sudden her social media platforms turned into battlegrounds, with longtime supporters openly questioning her priorities and attitude. Good guests on her podcast, which is another thing. I mean, a lot of these WNBA players have appeared on her show, but you have to wonder how many of them are truly in high demand. Like clockwork, fans began comparing Caitlin Clark to Angel, pointing out that even though she hasn't started a podcast yet, she seems to understand audience connection better. Comments poured in implying that if Clark ever decided to start a podcast, it would perform better than Angel's just because Clark knows how to communicate with people without alienating them. Words, fans started requesting guest lists for Angel, pleading with her to interview influential women in business, coaching, sports, or leadership. Instead, they received talking points from TikTok and Instagram influencers. One fan, however, got it exactly right. Out of all the incredible women in the world, you decided to highlight rapper girlfriends. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to feature people who have something worthwhile to say. And this person said, why not platform other successful women who have truly accomplished something? Not a bad question, but behind the scenes, rumors began to circulate, with people in the content industry wondering if Angel really intended to continue her basketball career or if she was more interested in gaining influencer clout. One content creator summed up the sentiment saying that she wasn't focused on hoops, but rather on chasing viral moments and red carpet flashes. To make matters worse, it was completely avoidable. All it would have taken was one meeting with a PR consultant who would have advised her to thank her fans, explain the experiment, and change the content accordingly. Instead, she chose to blast the bridge with a blowtorch on YouTube. At this point, I mean, that's saying something. Subscribe at your own freaking peril. Go find her podcast on an app, subscribe to it, and decide you want to listen to it. After you've done that, you'll think, nope, I'm tapping out of this horse shit. It's awful. The real harm here isn't to her podcast performance, but rather to her brand. When athletes lose the audience's faith, the repercussions extend well beyond view counts. Companies pay attention. When sponsors are hesitant, teammates notice. The entire situation is turned into a warning story and a masterclass in how not to manage your platform. Keep in mind that this wasn't a rookie error made by someone without assistance. Rather, it was a professionally backed media product launched by a major name under the auspices of Shaquille O'Neal's media empire. However, it all fell apart because Angel forgot that the one thing that initially made her famous, the people who gave her the support, is the faucet of Angel Reese. The real lesson here is that when fans feel heard, they will support you forever. When celebrities start to slow down, you have a won. Sponsors and brands will be reevaluating whether they want to align themselves with someone who alienates her core fans or whether they want to invest in a face that actively insults their base when challenged. These are tough questions, and Angel may not like the answers. Every athlete watching should take notes. Insulted, they'll depart as fast as they arrived, Angel. Ree had the platform, the production, and the presence, but she lacked connection, which is the one thing you can't fake in today's digital world. Do you agree? If so, please leave a comment, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.